Hi everybody, today we're going to have a look at the solution to task 1 of the divers task. A diving company needs a program to process dive trip information. A function, getCost, takes a string array as a parameter. The pseudocode for the function header is, so this is the identifier of the function, this is the parameter, dives, and it is of type array of string. Okay. And it returns a reel. Each string in the array stores the dive location and the cost of the dive. Some examples are as follows. As you can see, the last characters, those characters there, represent the cost of the dive in pounds sterling. The function will process the array and calculate the total cost of all the dives stored in the array. Implement this function. So before I actually start to implement the function, I just want to see if I can figure out a couple of things. First of all, let's just say we have a string called, I'm just going to call it location. And let's type in this one, scappa flow. Let's just copy and paste that if we can. What I want to do is just write a little bit of code to see if I can grab those 5 characters from the end of the string. So I'm going to make a new variable called cost equals location, and I'm going to slice off the last 5 characters and everything that goes after it. This is going to jump back 5 slots to there. That's the -5 working. And then it's going to take everything after that. So jump to there and take everything. So let's just see if that works. So we got it. We got the cost. Now I just want to do another little thing and see what happens, because I have a suspicion that there's another issue here. I'm just going to add 1 to the cost and see what happens. Let's print it out. Ooh. Can only concatenate string to string. So what this is telling me is, because these 5 characters are part of a string, this is still a string. So cost at the moment is a string. I need to convert that to be a decimal number. So what I want to say is cost is equal to float, which is Python's, we're not using int this time, we're using float, which is Python's data type for a decimal number. Let's just run that. And we get 90.0. So it was 89.0. Let's just change that to 0.5 just to see if that works properly. 90.5. Perfect. We got it. So take out the bit of the string that we were looking for, convert it to be a decimal number, and save it. Okay, so that's going to be useful as we solve this problem. So I'm just going to get rid of that. And let's start to solve this puzzle. The name of the function is getCost, and it returns the total cost as a real decimal number. So def getCost. The parameter is an array of strings. I'm just going to call it dives. Now then, total equals 0. For I in range len dives, because we're going to loop through all of the elements in the array. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab those 5 characters like I just did. So location equals dives. Now let's change that. Let's say location equals dives. Will this work? Will that work? No. Let's say location equals dives I. Okay. So that's basically everything, right? Location equals divesI, and cost equals float location minus 5. Ooh. Right then. Does that make sense? I've grabbed the string. So the first element, let's say when I is 0, dives 0 is, for example, all of this. That's everything. That's the whole information. And the cost is equal to all of this starting from the 5th last character onwards, and then convert it to be a float. And now that we've got that as a number, we can actually add it to update the total. Boom! Now remember, this is a function, so we're going to be returning the cost. Okay. So there's a definition for the get cost. Let's just test it. I'm going to create a variable called recent dives. This is now a computer program, by the way. This isn't part of the function definition. This is a computer program. I've got to make an array now with some strings in it. Let's do 5. We're not going to do 50 because that's just going to take too long for me. Scappa flow 89.00. Let's just copy that. And let's just mess around with that data. 91, 57.35, 50, and let's do one more. 0. That was free dive. Okay, so now we've got our array. Let's call this function, and let's assign the returned value to a variable called total. So we're going to call the getCost function. We're going to send it this thing, recent dives, and it's going to return something back to us, which we're going to store in this variable here, which is the thing that I'm going to print out. So let's run that and see if it works. Oh, name cost is not defined. Where is this? Line 29. Return cost. Not cost, total. Total. Okay, total is the thing that's being updated. So let's just remember, this total is not the same as this total, okay? These are two different things, but I've just used the same identifier. Pew! I've done it again, haven't I? Cost is not defined. Cost is not defined. Why is it telling me that? Let's run it again. Line 29, print cost. Oh, I've done it again, haven't I? Print total. Run. Module. Okay. Boom! The total cost. And it does end in 0.35, which is interesting, because that's the only kind of decimal messing around that I did there. Everything else is 00. I'm quite confident that that works.